Saturday, it's week 4, and it's time to get back to some Smite Pro League action. We're going to start things off at the beginning of the day with Fnatic versus Torpedo, followed by Fnatic versus Hungry for More. So it should be an exciting set for Fnatic overall today.
These three teams kind of sitting at the bottom of the standings right now in Europe. Fnatic, though, I think many still respect them as kind of the upper echelon of Europe. So they're going to have, I think, an important week here to prove themselves and try and make it back to an even record.
Now, the big thing here is Torpedo Gaming. As you can see, they've only played 6 games so far this season. Fnatic have played 8, so Fnatic really need to pick up the wins against Torpedo here, first of all. And then they've got Hungry for More straight afterwards, where we'll see if if they can actually continue that run. Fnatic really want 4 wins here to bring themselves up to a sort of semi-decent standard at 6-6.
I think that's going to be important this week, most notably, because we're heading into the bye week in a little bit, and then it's 5 weeks, and it's the run. It's the run for DreamHack. It's these teams have been working to qualify for, and obviously Fnatic, they've been struggling early. Jifffy has not made the transition into immediate success that I think a lot of people had expected. Maybe not. I think Fnatic themselves also felt that they'd see a little bit more success out of him.
Realistically, Jiffy's a ranked player. He's been a ranked all-star for a time, but he's making it hard. He's making the difficult transition into the Pro League, and it's taken him a long time. He's still got that ranked mentality, and you can see that in his play. Other news, though, today about Fnatic for you guys voting with your ELO and maybe your votes at home before the game begins. At the moment, Maniac will not be available this weekend to play. MrCrunchy will be stepping in for him. He's got other engagements that Maniac cannot make the games this weekend. So MrCrunchy, who's been their substitute for a while, is actually going to be filling in on the solo lane. And if you remember MrCrunchy, he was substitute for Justice.
Yes.
As well as played for Team Arcadia, who had a pretty good run during the Challengers Cup. The kid's been around a while, but this is his first time in, well, the real Pro League, not with Justice, who were already out.
I mean, Justice were not, they were like replacing members left and right, back and forth. I know he was not even just subbed. I think he was like the mainstay soul laner for a little bit, but this is going to be important for him to try and prove himself, because, you know, even if he's not going to take over Maniac's job. That's not going to happen. Let's be realistic here. He can at least prove himself in these matches, and maybe some other teams that are struggling, looking for a soul laner, could pick him up.
Well, I mean, it's week 5 is the cutoff week for lock-in, so you could see him end up moving there. But first of all, MrCrunchy is going to walk into Gamehunter, who, at the moment, he's starting to try and find his stride again for Torpedo over in that solo lane. His Apollo is where they found 2 of their wins. Apollo solo. I expect that's going to be a contested pick here.
It was Engage and Apollo. Do you remember when he came on? He's like, all right, it's like, my team understands that I like to pick what I want, and if I'm not playing something that I enjoy, I don't play up to the level I need to. And they said they needed an Engage, so I just went Apollo, and then I blinked in, and then I mezzed, and then I had Urchin as well.
And I had Urchin as well. Well, picks and bans, let's go straight into this one. Fnatic versus Torpedo to start the day off. Fnatic will be first pick, first ban. Torpedo with the counter option. I expect an Apollo ban or Apollo pick early by Fnatic here. There we go.
Banned. First ban. And actually, most teams, both in North America and Europe right now, are first picking Apollo. Maybe not in that number 1, first pick slot, but when it heads over to the other side, it's always there in your first 3.
And the funny thing is, the decline of Hou-Yi is something I want to talk about as well this week. With the Golden Bow Rise, the throwing dagger start here, Hou-Yi seems to have dropped a little bit in people's ratings, I guess, overall, in terms of what to pick for the Hunter role.
And we've seen a lot of Kronos as well in that duel lane. Shaggy Shank, an amazing performance yesterday on it. Kronos going to be banned away, but it's going to be Janus first picked up here.
And a lot of contested picks actually there that have been banned away. Sol's been picked up multiple times by Realzx, as well as Kronos for him. And Torpedo, well, they picked up Kronos a couple of times too, as well as the Sol. But Janus for Zyrhoes is not something you're going to be sad about if you're a Fnatic fan here.
It's going to be Neith locked in on the other side here, Torpedo. That could be a flex. That could go mid or Hunter. Although we've seen a little bit of the rise of Hunters in mid once again, so I suspect it could be there. And they're going to pair it with a Naja, someone who's really risen to prominence in Season 3. Naja had always been played every once in a while. There'd be a couple players who had a pocket Naja, but this season it seems like it's meta. Like, if you don't have a good Naja, that's bad, because the setup for your team is just it's unmatched for most junglers.
Well, there's a Hou-Yi. Excuse me, there's a hole you
okay?
I don't know why.
I had that yesterday too. I don't know what it was.
Just came out of nowhere. There's the hole you locked in for Fnatic. I have to mention it's not been picked up too much. More than likely going over to Realzx. But Nejar was a contested pick, as you were saying. I mean, we've seen NinjaBobat pick it up twice so far this season. And actually, back across the way, Jiffy's gone to this a couple of times, 3 times actually. So I'm not surprised to see that. But there is a strategy we see more and more in Europe, the Nejar Raw combination.
But, I mean, I'm not sold on this being in the mid yet. I suspect it will be, but it's Gamehunter.
Gamehunter solo Raw? I mean, if possible.
It's Gamehunter. You never know.
Somebody technically, who's going to probably struggle in the solo lane, or at least, have to find his feet, so to speak. Love the Odin bag coming up from Torpedo, though, just to make sure that the poor bird does not get trapped inside a ring and have no healing for himself.
I like the Guan Yu ban as well here. Guan Yu, another god that can really chase down these immobile mages. Gets up on the horse, cavalry charges through, and you can't stop him, right? You can't peel him. He's CC immune, and he's almost guaranteed against characters like Raw to get all 4 hits off.
The Bacchus pickup as well now for Torpedo. Going to be going over to Murrdurr, also known as Kanye Life in the past, but now known as Murrdurr. He's pretty much one of his only wins, actually, I believe, come from that Bacchus as well. So going back to winning ways for Torpedo there as Thor gets locked in for Jifffy once again, picked up a couple of times this season. And the final pick should be their solo laner here for MrCrunchy stepping in this week for Maniac.
I feel like it's going to be something that he's going to be incredibly safe on, and there it is, Vamana locked in. Very hard to kill the baby, unless you're able to kind of draft something with anti-healing. And Osiris here might be pretty good, but I don't really suspect Gamehunter says no, I'm going to go with Osiris.
Gamehunter has always gone default to Osiris a lot of times when he's in a matchup against a physical that he doesn't think he can really bully too much. And Osiris is one of those that is going to be impactful during the early stages. Technically, you can snowball a lane with an Osiris and transition it into a decent mid game. Late game, he kind of struggles at staying to a target, but that's, actually finding a kill on a target is what I should say.
Yeah, he can stick to him easy. He's got movement speed bonuses. He's got a lot of slows in his kit, damage reduction, stun. But Osiris, it's the best warrior. When it comes to warrior v warrior matchups, a good Osiris player should win the lane hands down, unless they really mess up early. So Crunchy going to be put under pressure here early on. Gamehunter going into that comfort.
So no soul stones for the mid laners here, as we do see Raw will be played by Korinyo here. No soul stones for the mid laners. We do see power pots for both junglers at the beginning of this game as well, as the wards come down in expected places for the most part, just to give vision of mid harpy control, just in case one team thinks about A, invading, or B, looking for the takeaway early on.
Janus looks like he'll be going for that early Doom Worm. I guess, I don't know, do you really see... There's been a couple mids that switch in between, going the Chronos Pendant and the Doom Warp start.
And I think that's based on the situation they're in as well, I think is what we're seeing more. We go for the boots first of all, and then you look, do I go Doom Orb? If I'm having a good game, maybe. If I'm not going to be worried about getting picked off, potentially, I'll go for the Doom Orb. However, if I need the cooldown reduction, then I'll look for the Chronos Pendant.
I always feel like Zyrhoes goes into Doom Orb, though. He likes the damage a lot of times. It's going to be hard, though. He's matched up against this Nejar Raw combo that you mentioned earlier on, and it's important to note. It's basically 100 to 0 coming into the mid game once that Raw has a single damage item online, and especially if they go into kind of that double pin setup that we see a lot with the Dynasty Plate Helm and choose the Magi.
Where you can actually see right-hand side as well, Torpedo top mid harpies on the right, so they're going to find out, Fnatic, they know that because of the wall placement, what's happening. On the duo side, though, they're going to reach lane about even, which is quite surprising. The whole Yi didn't manage to get the triple bounce off of Realzx, I guess, or like just fell behind a little bit, so they meet relatively even, both with throwing dagger, however. And we've mentioned Neith with throwing dagger a couple of times so far, as Moex has picked this one up. Not a big fan still, I've got to be honest. I'm still not a fan of Neith with throwing dagger.
Neith already has the clear with just Transcendence, right? Spirit Arrow can full clear the wave, and it is interesting. The right-hand side. Oh, I thought that was going to be a kill.
No.
I thought it was close, though. If those potions weren't ticking, Crunchy would be dead.
And Crunchy's going to have to play this one very, very safe. Now, got Blue Stone online and boots as we tune back into left-hand side. Lots of aggression there, but I think MrCrunchy's going to have a rough time here. He gets an Osiris early, and Gamehunter is really putting the beating down on him at the moment.
Right or left-hand side. Moex going to be stunned out, but that shell should immune a lot of that damage. Murrdurr going to try and turn it around, but he doesn't have the stun just yet. Still going to jump onto Realzx, who will quickly jump away.
It was a very good leap there, actually, by Realzx. It's very difficult with Ho-Yi to escape some of those because you've got to time it earlier than you would normally.
The second you hear Bacchus start to jump up, you immediately have to press that frame.
You'll get hit,
Otherwise, you'll get canceled in the middle of it. It's frustrating.
So 0-0 at the moment. Both Harpies down in the mid lane as we tune in once again to Gamehunter. Putting a beat down onto Crunchy early. And Crunchy's main job here is survive the laning phase. Get to the team fights and then walk up to Ra and beat the crap out of the bird. That's kind of his game plan.
That's actually all it is.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see a curse picked up from Crunchy. I do imagine some sprints will be coming out from Torpedo, more than likely from Moex, and it might even be from Raw as well. I think he's definitely going to need a sprint here. But left-hand side, Jifffy, he really loves these level 4 ganks.
He does this a lot, actually, Jifffy. He's always looking to hover around, and I think he needs to be very aware that teams have worked this out. He's done this a lot and still going for it now. Maybe he gets a pick here, though, and I'll shut my mouth because there's a double tap. Not going to connect. The spin is good, but it's not enough damage, and Jifffy takes some poke back from the tower.
I mean, that was just a mechanical misplay from Jifffy there. The wall cuts Reels off. He hammers, he doesn't, kind of move his body to where it's going to be able to double tap, and then he teleports into tower, and obviously it's just not enough damage at that point.
It does delay him hitting level 5 a little bit there, as well as his duo lane, but taking those balls should catch them back up a little bit. Now he is level 5 now. Zyrhoes not going to be too upset about not having a jungler in his lane the whole time, though. He's going to get a free bit of experience.
It's only for like a minute, though.
Hey,
not even a minute.
These mid laners these days, every minute counts where there's no frickin' jungler or support there too.
Hold on, I'm looking at how much farm he has. Yeah.
I like this call from Jifffy. If he goes for the gank on Moex, I think this is a good call because Moex just uses Purification in the last
Athena's on top too.
Gonna dunk, get a good stun, very good combo.
There we go.
Perfectly executed. First blood goes the way of Fnatic and Jifffy.
I think that's important for Jifffy most notably because, like I said, he has been struggling in, well, the recent matches, we've seen some improvements from him. It's still not the level of play you would expect from Fnatic, honestly. Mid though, Zyrhoes.
Good Purification from Zyrhoes.
Doesn't matter.
My goodness me! That was a snipe. That was just the tip. Just the tip.
This is the best time to try and connect snipes with Raw is before players have boots because they don't have that bonus movement speed to try and juke out. And you even saw that. Zyrhoes, he perfectly timed his ult. You saw the Neith ult come in as well. The second he turns his camera, he's just moving to the left and right way too slow, and he allows Korinyo to line it up perfectly.
I actually thought it was Purification he used at first.
I did too.
But if he would have gone for Purification, he may have lived if he just kept walking away, but you can't really calculate those things, honestly. Really, really good play coming out from Torpedo to find a kill in response. As you can see, a trade in the mid lane between the two junglers there. Level 7 for NinjaBobat right now, getting his good old farm on.
Red buff going to be started on the left-hand side. And actually, Fnatic want to fight this.
Yeah, but in response, Torpedo well aware of what's going on. They're going to reset the red buff. Sash comes out from Bobat. Purification in response from Zyrhoes to avoid any sort of ultimate coming out. Bobat very low. Realzx will get credit for the kill. 2-1, and the red buff falls as well.
Murrdurr's here, but doesn't look like he wants to re-engage. Beautiful rotation coming out from Fnatic there. They recognize that Torpedo's going for the red buff. I think the most important thing there is that I'm not entirely sure that Torpedo knew that Zyrhoes' ult was down.
Jifffy, a little bit off the mark with the ultimate there. Not going to find the pick he was after onto Moex, unfortunately. But Taunt comes out for BigManTingz. Double tap does connect. No backflip available. And so Moex didn't expect BigManTingz walking around the corner there. Picks up another kill for Fnatic.
I mean, there's been a ton of focus on this dual lane, and we don't see that too often. A lot of times, it's mostly the mid fights. Every once in a while, you'll see a dual lane gank or an invade, but that's, I believe, the 4th time we've seen Jifffy try and set up for a gank on Moex. 2nd time it's been successful.
This feels like get Realzx big.
Yes.
Even though Jifffy picks up 2 of these kills, but get Realzx big. Because Zyrhoes, for the most part, he will always be on the back and always be a big impact for Fnatic. But if they can get Realzx off to a flying start, then he can carry him in those later stages.
I think another point to this is the fact that, one of the strongest things about drafting Neith is the ability to set up ganks or to be impactful in these fights from across the map. But if the fight's in your lane, your ult is useless, right? Obviously, you could set up for a stump, but you don't get those kind of long windups for your team to come in and have this big gank.
A lot of engagement from Torpedo deep in the enemy jungle here, looking for the Belch as well. Not going to find the pick on BigManTingz at the moment, who's in an awkward position here. He needs to get to that portal, but he didn't recognize it in time. And in the end, he will pay the price as an invade from Torpedo pays off.
Jifffy rotating in there, intercepting that Neith arrow would have guaranteed Zyrhoes' death, and now it looks like Torpedo, they're going to take their man advantage and head straight to the Gold Fury. They're going to be starting it up. They have the raw heals as well.
They do have raw snipe as well as the big one. Bacchus ult is on cooldown, but Realzx is here, has his ultimate available. He's going to watch. Can he do his best hi-rez impersonation? That's my question. He can't. Torpedo get the Gold Fury, but with Athena coming in, they may pay a price with at least 1 casualty here. Bobat evaporated. Realzx gets killed, but Jifffy on the back did clean another one up as Crunchy teleports in late, doesn't find anything with that teleport.
Gamehunter rotates in as well, but he's going to take a trip back to his lane. No need to worry. Crunchy going to have to take the long walk. Right-hand side Harpy should go the way of Gamehunter. And here's the thing, though, Fnatic, a lot of times you'll see... Gamehunter.
If that slow would
He's
have
out of
connected, I'm pretty sure he would have been in a lot of trouble there with 3 members of Fnatic collapsing. But 5-2.
A lot of times you see these teams group up after a Gold Fury is taken. The team that loses it, after they force the opponents back to base and take this Tier 1 tower. This honestly is meta. It is the meta at this point. If you lose the Gold Fury, you take the Tier 1 tower, but Fnatic were a little bit slow to respond to it, and because of that, they don't get the free 500 golds.
Well, they look for Gamehunter, didn't they?
They chased him down instead.
Harpies, didn't find the pick on him, as well as there wasn't many minions in mid lane to really push that tower in. So no Tier 1 tower for them now. 5-2 is the slash line. Everything's pretty much even at the moment, apart from experience, I want to say.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised at that Gold Fury. I really think Realzx should have just used his ult at the start, right? He went for the steal instead of just doing so much damage that Torpedo would have been forced off it. Obviously, it would have helped to get the Gold Fury low, but the players on Torpedo would have been so low that your team probably wouldn't have been able to find more kills.
Connected from Realzx there on Bobat, who's under pressure. Will Weaver comes out to help out his team from MoX. Murrdurr taking some autos from Realzx again. They're still looking for this invade on red buff, and Torpedo starting to get low.
Korinyo waiting around the corner, tries to steal it back, but unsuccessful. MoX in the jungle here, and Realzx is honestly just zoning with his auto attacks. You can see them already starting the chunk. He's got boots online. He's got another 1,500 gold in hand in case he wants to start up Aussie.
Oh, but Murrdurr's coming around the back as you see Realzx engaging, gonna get a ricochet off after the backplate, force purification, but Murrdurr's here. The ult in response from Realzx, but he's already below half health and he's in a lot of trouble here. Stood in the ultimate as long as he could and then manages to get out of danger as Jifffy comes in to secure a kill with Zyrhoes.
That's a double kill so far, but Gamehunter's here. He's looking for Jifffy. Jiffy's gonna fall. BigManTingz gonna use his ult and get out, and Zyrhoes should be free as well. So a 2-for-1 in favor of Fnatic. They continue to whittle away.
It was a very good play from Jifffy and Zyrhoes there, just to rotate into that fight, clean up the kills when Realzx was in an awkward position. And not only that, we saw Crunchy be able to steal away the blue now with the help of BigManTingz. Realzx pushing the wave to tower as well. So a big win for Fnatic there.
It looks like they'll be able to steal the boar as well if they want. No. Not valuing it. They're actually gonna push the wave. Actually, it seems instead.
Disrespectful to steal boars.
What? No.
Disrespectful.
The piggies, man. You got the more piggies you have, the further ahead you get.
Dire boars.
I know. I saw that as well.
Yeah.
I'm calling them piggies.
Piggies.
Forget you, Reddit.
Well, they'll take their own 7-3. Let's check in with the experience in gold now. Once again, Gold Fury, as you said, went the way of Torpedo, but you can see immediately the gold went back in favor of Fnatic once more. Now they stole the jungle and picked up some kills.
BigManTingz picked up that blue buff. So a little bit of CDR for him, also going to be able to spam abilities pretty often. And this is something you don't see. He's basically second jungling right now. He rotated over. This is allowing Realzx to get farm. This is making sure that Fnatic have the timers on their camps or are getting the most use out of the timers on their camps, since Fnatic Jifffy is currently kind of sitting around mid and splitting waves with Zyrhoes and focusing on the left side of the map.
He's actually gone back to base now, BigManTingz. Doing a good job on this Athena so far. He's played it, I want to say 3 times this season, I'm pretty sure. No, 4 times this season. One of his go-tos alongside Kumbhakana. I think BigManTingz is starting to make the transition to the Pro League in a good way for me. I'm actually liking his support style so far. He's working things out nicely with Realzx and Zyrhoes. Jifffy, on the other hand, he's starting. This is one of the best games I've seen from Jifffy since he's been in the Pro League.
And there's been very few mistakes, and it's still managing to kind of do what he's been needing to do, which is shut down MoX, right? That's been the game plan for Fnatic from the start, right? Level 4, Jifffy walks over, doesn't find the kill, but what he does is he's able to successfully push MoX back to base. Realzx gets more farm. They also steal away those dire boars. And then he just comes back again and again, and now 3 deaths onto
ranked
MoX.
mentality, though? That's the big key here. It's the ranked mentality that he's got to get away from and make sure he focuses on the team unity and being part of the team. You can see it's starting to work out for him now as he, like you said, continues to stay on this side of the map, keep the focus there. They're just letting Crunchy do his thing over in solo, and he's done a good job so far of not dying up against that Osiris.
That wall was beautiful. Honestly, we could have seen the combo go off onto BigManTingz there. Korinyo and Bobat, Murrdurr there as well. It would have been 100-0 on this Athena. Not very tanky just yet. Only has rank 2 Hot of the Urchin, so not a lot of protections and health. And that wall placement, beautiful.
So we're about to see most of Fnatic hit level 12 here. Jiffy's just 1 level off. Realzx has hit level 12 as well. I want to see Fnatic go straight for the Gold Fury, which is coming up very soon, but it looks like Torpedo. They're the ones in the area already looking around it. It's not spawned just yet. It has now, as the wall placement is in their favor, and they're clearly controlling that jungle.
You can see a couple sentries in Fnatic's inventory. Zyrhoes, BigManTingz, and Realzx. So they're going to try to wrestle back control But I don't think either team really wants to force the Gold Fury just yet. I think they're both going to be looking for these, one-man pickoffs, start a fight. Once they have the numbers advantage, then look for it. And you can see Murrdurr just sitting around that corner all the time. It's so worrying against this team comp that Torpedo has drafted, because all it takes is you either get sashed or you get knocked up, and you're almost guaranteed dead unless Torpedo mess up their own combo.
A funny story about these two teams as well this season is the fact that the only team they've had played in common is Panthera so far, which they both lost to. They've not actually played any other opposition the same so far this season. So finding out who wins this game will give you a telltale of how the Hungry for More versus Fnatic game may go later on as well. Because Torpedo, they split with Hungry for More. So if, we see Fnatic get the 2-0 here potentially, you should be favouring Fnatic.
Jifffy hasn't really made any attempts at ganking recently, and I think a lot of this is kind of slowing the pace down. They know Torpedo, they could all in here. Left-hand side, though.
I think the big difference here is, I was mentioning the Golf Fury that Fnatic should be looking for with the extra relic in hand, but they've got to deal with Bacchus, they've got to deal with Ra, and I think they've got to find a pick at least one of those, or force the ults out of them, before they can really look for a Golf Fury and try and establish this lead even further.
Moek's actually charging his ult, but it's going to be Fnatic looking to pick up Murrdurr here, or at the very least force out a relic. Not going to happen just yet.
Will Weaver forces Purification. Ring toss was beautifully placed, I want to say. It was unfortunate, but beautiful place.
I think that was like the exact length that Realzx could have been. Like, I think if he's like a step further away, he doesn't get ring bounce back to the Gold Fury there, but you could see Fnatic very understanding of what happens when that Naja goes in. Immediately pops his Purification. We have a shell from BigManTingz as well.
That was a nice little cut off there. You saw the sash dodge coming out from Zyrhoes, but immediately Korinyo following up. Bobat takes a bit of poke. They're still going to contest these left-hand harpies here, both teams. And it looks like Jiffy's wrestled control of them away from Torpedo.
Murrdurr looks like he wants to jump in, but no one there to follow up, so he backs off, and Zyrhoes goes back to farming. A little bit of an experience lead coming out for Fnatic outside of, I would say, the solo lane. Everyone has about a level lead. Most important here is that Realzx has a 2-level lead. And honestly, I believe that's a 600 gold lead, and Moek's has the Gold Fury.
With Zyrhoes gets poked for half his health there on that rotation back to mid lane through the portal. Korinyo spotted that one out. Talking about experience, mid lane, BigManTingz, 2-level lead over Murrdurr on that Bacchus right now. So this experience is making an impact so far, but can it continue?
I really like what Fnatic's doing. BigManTingz specifically, he's just walking in front of Torpedo and then just taunting them, right? He's just trying to get them to panic burn relics or ultimates, and like you said, that's the important thing right now, is that Fnatic, if they want to do Gold Fury, they need to force something out of Torpedo, right? They need to either find a pick or make sure their relics are down or their ultimates are down, and then look to force the engagement.
Well, Jifffy going to head back to base, working towards potentially Spirit Robe here. Could be Mantle of Discord, we'll see. The same time picked up another sentry for more Gold Fury control. And the awkward thing is that Fnatic, they need to take down Bacchus or Ra to really look for the Gold Fury, as I said. But at the same time, Torpedo, they're not going to try and rush this just yet, because NinjaBobat, no relics available just now. They need those relics up to be able to look for the engagement.
This solo lane could be pretty impactful here in this next fight. Crunchy still getting bullied for the most part. He's about 1,000, a little bit less than that, 700 gold down. Both of them have relics. No sprint, most notably, picked up for Torpedo right now, and that's the thing about Curse. Oh, bye-bye, Moek's. Fourth death.
Find the pick once again over on Moek's, and Moek's has been the focal point of this game from Torpedo, honestly. They've set themselves up nicely for it. Now that he's fallen down, they think the man advantage will be in their favor as a teleport comes in from Crunchy. They're going to 5-man this Gold Fury. Murrdurr trying to get some zone for his team to get in there.
He's going to find a stun. It's going to be Jifffy not teleporting over the wall, and actually, Fnatic, they're going to force this. Realzx gets hit by a snipe early on. He has to disengage, but Jifffy dives deep, misses everyone.
He expected Murrdurr to jump over the wall, which he didn't do. Murrdurr going to get a good intoxicate off, but Realzx stays in the fight, picks up the kill. Crunchy zone duty onto Gamehunter, who eats an unstable vortex, but round the back comes NinjaBobat, immediately taunted by Tingz and evaporated by Jifffy as well. Fnatic win the fight. Snipe is down from Ra here, as well as Gamehunter. Well, he's trying to duel multiple members now.
He should get this done. Moek's, the World Weaver, not going to be enough. Good use of Sanctuary, stops Gamehunter's ult, and then from the corner, Korinyo just trying to throw out as many lasers as he can. The rest of Fnatic, they're going to turn on to Gamehunter, but with all their members low, they're going to decide to disengage. I believe that was a 2-4-0
yeah, it was a good fight for Torpedo, sorry, for Fnatic, but they didn't get what they really wanted, which was the Gold Fury there. Gamehunter did a good job of stalling and causing issues with Korinyo to just keep that Gold Fury up.
One thing that was awkward for Torpedo is it seemed like it was Murrdurr who got caught out or tried to force the engage, but the rest of the team kind of didn't really commit. They were very passive. They didn't want to go in. They kind of just left Murrdurr there. And Fnatic, as a 4-man group, just picked off Murrdurr. Then they picked off Bobat. It was just kind of like no one contested them. It was Korinyo trying to throw lasers over the wall. Gamehunter, you know, was in there kind of with Murrdurr as well, but he can't do much.
But I guess the whole job for Torpedo there was just defend the Gulf Fury. I mean, they did just lose Moex in that engagement. He wasn't available. Taunt in mid lane, but immediately response from NinjaBobat taking Zyrhoes to the sky. Is there a follow-up with the snipe? There is, you know. Korinyo and Bobat combined to pick up Zyrhoes, and now the power plays in Torpedo's favor.
That's what Torpedo have been looking for all game. Finally, they connect it 17 minutes in, but it doesn't look like they're going to force the Gold Fury just yet. They know not only do Fnatic have that global in Thor, who's you always got to be worried about Thor when you do the Gold Fury, but also most notably Zyrhoes doesn't use his ult in that fight, which means once he spawns, he's going to be able to get to the Gold Fury fast enough, and now it's Jifffy that the team's focusing on.
World Weaver connects. Korinyo trying to follow up some damage, not going to connect, unfortunately. Just out of range was Jifffy there. Over on the left-hand side, MrCrunchy defending his tower here. Sorry, right-hand side. I don't know why I said left. My apologies. But MrCrunchy, he was thinking about backing, changed his mind, thought about backing again, changed his mind. He had no mana. And when he finally decided to come to lane, this is why he's bullied like this, because he had no mana here. Bit of a mistake by MrCrunchy. It's nothing too much to be too upset about, but the decision-making is one thing you've got to have in the solo lane about what you want to do. And there you saw it kind of falter him a little bit.
It's not super worrying because for the most part, Gamehunter's been controlled in this early game. Obviously, he has a little bit of a lead, but it's nothing massive, right? If it's 2,000 gold and you're seeing Gamehunter come in and be this very impactful players at these Gold Fury fights, that's one thing. But so far, I mean, he's just lost lane, and then he teleports and he's there with Gamehunter at the same time.
He's done what he needs to do. You can see the gold lead, though, between the two is in favor of Gamehunter. Jifffy rotating with BigManTingz to mid lane once again, potentially looking for Korinyo, who's a little bit overextended, has to purify. Immediate flop from Murrdurr, though, onto Jifffy to keep him away. Sash follows it up. Wall from Jifffy comes out, and Stable Vortex doesn't really do any damage, but that will do from NinjaBobat through space and time. Fire to try and give him an escape route. Won't get there in time as Intoxicate connects from Murrdurr.
But it looks like Zyrhoes actually wants to fight this. Crunchy and Gamehunter have rotated as well, but Fnatic, they're going to be backing off. Zyrhoes used his ult trying to get Jifffy out, but wasn't enough, and Korinyo lines up the snipe for the third time. And that was a little bit, I think Jifffy got a little bit confused on what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to hammer out early, but then like looked to the wall, and then he got stunned by Bobat, and then he walled, and then he just like tried to get off damage instead of taking the portal. And Bobat just ulted him to the sky.
What happened in the end was like he got hit by the belly flop from Murrdurr first of all, so he can't purify that if you don't do it beforehand. As soon as the sash hit, he did purify and wall and tried to deal some damage, it seemed, but it immediately, like you said, NinjaBobat just comes in, picks it up. Gold Fury being looked at by Torpedo here, started up, Tangz dashes in, and immediately Torpedo drop it, and Realzx quite happy just to sit at the back. Level 18 right now, 2-level lead still over Moex, still working towards that chins.
Torpedo grouping up. Gamehunter going to try and snipe away this red, and he gets it. Oh no, looks like Fnatic were able to secure it.
There was no follow-up there from that good taunt for BigManTingz as Torpedo going aggressive in the jungle. They're looking for the red, as you said. Left-hand Harpies did spawn and go the way of Torpedo, so Torpedo looking like they want to group up now.
I think this is time to team fight for them. The Raw, he's got Warlock Stash online. Obviously, he wants to get a little bit more stacks, but Naja's finished Wingblade. Gamehunter has a heavy hammer over his opponent, MrCrunchy, right now. It's honestly the perfect time to try and make a power play. Although, one thing to note is we don't really have a second relic yet on Murrdurr.
Being focused through space and time, gets fired. Murrdurr evaporated there, gets caught because of the curse. Realzx then rotates in and gets a good ricochet off on Bobat. And it was Torpedo that were backing away, and Fnatic like, oh, you want to back away? No, boys, we're fighting. We're going to give a double kill to our solo lane substitute, MrCrunchy.
And Moex here should get caught out. There's Purification, but it's only a matter of time before BigManTingz. The taunt is back up. Double tap. Not going to connect, but Sanctuary can't save you there, Moex, and another kill going the way of Fnatic. 4-0 in that engagement. It's going to be a Gold Fury as well, unless Gamehunter can pull an hi-rez.
Gamehunter going to try to defend the red buff first of all, but denied by a good wall by Jifffy. Now the Gold Fury are going to be started up. They need the damage from Realzx here to really bring this one down. Keep an eye on Gamehunter. He will come in. Realzx going to turn his attention and zone away this warrior. Rest of the team still working on Gold Fury. Not going to help him out too much. And the Gold Fury goes to Fnatic. Let's go to the graphs and see the impact it makes.
5,300 gold in the lead, 10,000 experience. Something to note as well, as no one has hit level 20 yet in this game. Realzx has a 3-level lead, BigManTingz has a 2-level lead, and about a level for everyone else as well. But, I mean, that engagement, once again, it's just kind of like the fight happens, and Torpedo are on full retreat mode, but then Fnatic, the call is kill this person, kill this person, kill this person. You don't see multiple fights going on. It's very focused. They all look at one guy that they want to take out. And Torpedo, they don't seem to know how to respond.
Well, that for me was Torpedo group for themselves, looked to push, didn't find anything. Okay, let's just go back to farming again. And as they disperse, Fnatic see the opportunity. Murrdurr was on the last guy left, which is fine. You know, you're Bacchus after all. You want to be the supporting front line for your team. But ends up getting picked after flopping, I think, because he didn't have his flop available to get out of that.
No, Curse as well.
The curse was really big from Crunchy.
I think they popped Sprint, and then they closed the gap onto Murrdurr, and then popped Curse onto him, so he couldn't get away. And this Curse is going to be very useful, right? Raw's picked up a sprint, but that's it. There's only a single sprint to counter the curse, and once that's down, I mean, MrCrunchy's going to have full reign, and that's one of the things about this curse relic is that as strong as it is, it just gets countered. It actually just immediately gets countered by sprint, so not a lot of people run it, but if the other team is not running that many sprints to counter it, I mean, it's annoying. That's a massive slope for quite some time.
Real still pressuring onto Moex again, and Moex below half, just around half health, I should say, as the whole team of Fnatic starts swinging over to this left-hand side. Zyrhoes is over here too, as they're looking for pressure now onto Murrdurr, who's poked below half as well from Realzx. Realzx doing some good damage, going to take a little bit in response. Jifffy over the wall. World Weaver channeling by Moex here. It looks like we may see Torpedo look for an engagement, but it's Fnatic that is still forcing things.
It's going to be Jifffy landing down, turns his attention to Korinyo, but actually just backs off. It looks like Fnatic got what they came for. They got the tier 1 tower, a wall from Jifffy to make sure Torpedo can't surge forward, but he's going to be aggressed on into the jungle, and it's going to be Zyrhoes ulting forward. This is a little bit sloppy from Fnatic. I don't think they know exactly what they want to do right now.
Looking for picks. Oh, that was a big time hit onto a Bobat. That was a nice chunk of health, but that's a level 20 versus a level 16 assassin for you.
And right-hand side, it seems like after that Gold Fury, MrCrunchy has wrestled back control, pressuring Gamehunter under his tier 2 tower while the rest of Fnatic group up and take this tier 1. And this is I like this clean sweep.
Like, starts to come online compared to an Osiris. You know, Osiris starts to drift a little bit. Vamana just gets stronger as a taunt hits Murrdurr in mid lane. He takes a ricochet as well, and a wall, and the crit to finish things off from Realzx secures the deal.
I don't think he kills him there without that crit. An amazing wall by. You could see Murrdurr like trying to jump away multiple times, kept getting interrupted by the taunt, the wall from Jifffy, and then the stun from Realzx as well. And now tier 2 going to be sieged up. MrCrunchy should be able to teleport in here.
You're just waiting for the taunt to come up as well from BigManTingz here. Teleport, as you said, now coming in from MrCrunchy. He's just joins the fight, goes in, taunt comes up, damage immediately onto Moex, who forced a backflip away very low. The tier 2 tower will fall as NinjaBobat tries to make something happen with that sash.
Crunchy on the front line, and Jifffy, he takes to the sky. Is he going to land down, or is he just going to play this one safe? And it looks like he'll play it safe. Lands right on top of the red buff, but looking at the graphs, Fnatic, not only the Gold Fury, but continuously getting a player at a time, a couple more towers, 9,000 gold lead.
This is looking like the Fnatic you'd expect the name to live up to. That's what I want to say here. The Fnatic brand is actually being represented as expected now. But this is against opposition realistically that Fnatic should be. You know, on paper.
They should 2-0 this.
You should think this based off the previous seasons and such is that Fnatic should be looking for a 2-0 here. Same against Hungry for more here. These are games that Fnatic have to win to stay in contention, honestly, to try and get to DreamHack.
And that's why I think this week is important, right? You're facing 2 of the bottom opposition, and then if you're able to not only 4-0 them, you even up your record before the halfway mark in the split. I think this is a very kind of feel-good weekend for them.
Great ultimate coming out from NinjaBobat to pick Zyrhoes, who didn't have a response at all there. Immediate body flap Sanctuary gets blocked off from the World Weaver, but Korinyo secures the kill. Rotation for Fnatic to try and support him, but it's not enough. A very good pick again.
I love what BigManTingz did there, though. I don't know if you saw it. He actually walks to the back line and tries to get the taunt off on Korinyo before Bobat lands with Realzx. Unfortunately, just a second too late, and Korinyo timed it as well. I think he saw it coming.
Well, here we go again. Torpedo grouping up, looking for a play in mid. Flop goes in from Murrdurr. Doesn't find a connection. Wall does, however, as does the ricochet coming out from Realzx. Murrdurr still tanking the tower. The suns get dropped as well. Tier 1 tower still stands, and now they turn their attention to Gamehunter, who's isolated and alone. Has to all the way. Jifffy, though, goes to the back, looking for Bobat. Will pick him up. Berserker Barrage stops him getting hit by the knock-up of Murrdurr, and Murrdurr, under pressure, will be run down by Crunchy.
It's only a matter of time. Intoxicate should buy him at least another second, but Crunchy still finishes him off. And right-hand side, Gamehunter has just been getting chased through the jungle by Realzx. He is not letting him get away. He's like, you're not getting away. But he could get turned on.
Well,
honestly.
Ricochet misses, and that's all Realzx's abilities down now. Trading off against the Warrior. This could be a mistake made. Waiting for support, and finally support arrives. Good turn from BigManTingz keeps Realzx, who got himself in an awkward spot there.
That was, so Torpedo pop shell before anyone is even fighting, and they're still outside of the tower. And then a couple seconds into it, that's when Murrdurr jumps in. And by the time that the fight broke out, the shell had ended. You could just see Fnatic. I mean, they were shredding Torpedo, especially with the Suns doing a lot of poke damage. And now because of that, they're going to find a couple more kills. Looks like they should be able to pick up Moex here as well, and the Fire Giant. This is Fnatic's game. This is really good play from them.
Really good play for them. They've got off right from the beginning, and all the focus onto Moex, you can see, it's just taken away one of the threats that Torpedo has on this lineup. This Neith has just not worked out this game. The whole game, Jiffy's been focusing it, and to be fair, Thor versus Neith is that matchup anyway.
Oh,
Goes
beautiful.
Thor's way every time.
It's just a clean setup gank, and that's what we saw from from start to finish. Moex has had zero impact in this game, and it's not all his fault, right?
No.
Maybe his positioning or the lack of wards when they needed to. But I mean, honestly, Jiffy was just walking into the lane. There was only one gank where he actually landed down, and I think it was unsuccessful. And then it was BigManTingz rotating back in and taunting him from the upper side of the jungle. Really, Jiffy just walked to that lane and killed Moex on cooldown.
And honestly, Ho Yi versus Neith as well is in Ho Yi's favor, because she backflips, you can jump after her or fire a ricochet for the stun after her as well. You can force her to do multiple things. So Fnatic with the Fire Giant, we'll take a tier 2 in left as well. Gamehunter defending right-hand side, but immediately recalls back to base to come and defend this Phoenix on left.
Torpedo, they're going to be 5-man strong here defending this. The creeps are going to
where
start to pile in.
This is where Athena shines and Ra fails. That's what I'm going to call here, because Ra on defense is very easy to get caught because you all want to heal up, and the taunts from Athena are huge.
And just looks like a poke war so far. Murrdurr in a little bit of trouble. There's going to be shell. NinjaBobat actually has to ult out, and Jifffy to the sky, going to land, trying to kill him before it makes it to the fountain, but he'll head straight back to the Phoenix. And Realzx, he's just chunking away at the Phoenix. Not going to turn his attention until just there where he lines up Murrdurr.
He had the abilities up, so he used them. They will get the Phoenix, which is what they were after. A lot of the Afterlife used by Gamehunter, though, looking for the pick onto Crunchy. Doesn't find it, however, as Tingz on the front line zones. Realzx dives in deep, gets a ricochet for another kill. Goes Divine, looking for a next one onto Gamehunter. Will find it for the double. Turns towards Korinyo, who's bravely running away. Taunt available for Tingz? Not just yet. Phoenix falls. They look to mid.
Fnatic, they're going to play it safe. No Titan or Fountain dives just yet. This should be another Phoenix here, unless Moex and Korinyo can somehow combine to defend this. No ultimates from either of them right now. Phoenix is going to fall.
Phoenix will fall eventually in the mid lane. Tingz tanking things up. Takes a little while without any minions to remove the backdoor protections there. 29 minutes in. Fnatic looking to close out game 1, unless we see any mistakes.
Oh, I thought they were trying to bait there. Just like show the portal, no one takes it, but they were on top of a ward, so they would have been found out anyway.
I think it's also because Crunchy was a little bit low there. They went to regen a little bit more without having his ultimate available, so the Fire Giant will help him out. Who's going to tank this up? It will be Crunchy once again.
He doesn't care.
Ultimate is available again now as well, so final tier 2 tower of the game falls down, and Fnatic take all that gold to the base.
2,000 plus on every single player. Taking a look at the graphs, I believe it should be about a 17,000 gold lead, 24,000 experience, but everyone's level 20 on the side of Fnatic right now, outside of BigManTingz, so that's only going to be reduced. But I mean, just look at the difference in builds right now. This is a pure gold lead where Fnatic are still not full build.
Still not indeed, but they're working towards it now. And you can see the Torpedo just trying to push out their lanes, and find out as much experience as they can, just waiting for the next storm, because the problem is that this isn't a defensive team that Torpedo have put together. Defensive against Siege is not easy with the lineup Torpedo has.
It's all about the thing is that their composition was really based around getting picks, but they only did that once, right? I guess you can count, they had the pick on the Zyrhoes in the mid game or in the middle lane very early. I think it was like level 6 where they got his ultimate, and then they got it again, but it was only 17 minutes in. It's like they drafted this lineup where it's like, let's just all in a player at a time and then start finding our gold furies, but that's just not what happened. It was actually Fnatic that were getting the pickoffs.
And to be fair, the Haunter picks this season is not something we've seen too much, but this focus from Fnatic, I like the idea of going to the dual lane and find the kills, because realistically, finding picks in mid is very difficult because the jungle and support are always there. Not always the case over in the dual lane these days.
And that's the important thing, too, is who they ganked, right? Not only are you getting a Hoi ahead, which means he's got to get to full build, and he's one of the better hunters come late game. I mean, Ricochets can 100-0 players. Also has Mark of the Crow, pretty safe with his jump. But you're shutting down a Neith who shines in the early game, and also she doesn't want the focus on her lane. She wants the focus on other lanes so she can ult over, which means you have this global for helping set up that, you know, wombo combo of the Ra and Naja, but you can't use it because you're dead.
Nothing too crazy coming out from Fnatic, though. For 31 minutes in, two Phoenix is down. They're going to wait for the Fire Giant to spawn, see if anybody turns up from Torpedo, take a fight on their terms if they want to, and if not, they'll take a free Fire Giant before they look for the final Phoenix.
They should get this for free. Torpedo, they're just going to concede it completely. They know if they lose a single member trying to defend or steal it away, that the game's going to be over, right? Even if Torpedo steal away the Fire Giant, they're almost guaranteed to lose with 2 Phoenixes down, because that means they have to commit very, very deep into the Fire Giant pit, which you have to imagine Fnatic will find some return kills with how far ahead they are.
Well, Realzx, with all the help he got from his jungler this game and his support, to be fair, 24,000 player damage online for him. A late game Hou-Yi at its best. And I was just saying before this game started how Hou-Yi started to fall off for a lot of people. We have not seen him as much.
Not for Realzx.
He's terrifying. He is a terrifying god if he gets put in the right hands.
It's going to be actually Bobat trying to find the setup, but he's off the mark, and now it's then all in from Zyrhoes. He finds 2. Jifffy takes to this guy. Sun's on top. Fnatic, they're just going to be focusing on the Phoenix as Jifffy rains terror in the backline. Double tap finds 2, and it's going to be him versus the world, but it doesn't matter. This should be game. It's only a matter of time before Torpedo's Titan falls.
Only afterlife from Gamehunter, but Realzx takes out Murrdurr, and now they're still looking for picks here. Fnatic's
They're just killing.
Pat those stats, boys, before you get game 1 in your favor. Fnatic move themselves up to 3 and 6. Torpedo slipped to now 2 and 5 after game 1.
11, 0, and 12 on Realzx. Absolutely absurd.
Realzx played well, but realistically, all that early game was all down to the gank pressure coming out from Jifffy over and over again in that duo lane. We've seen him do it multiple times, but he's never really made it work until this game.
Yeah, again, with the level 4 gank, we see that a lot from him. Never been successful. I don't think I've ever seen him walk over to lane at level 4 and find a kill, but I mean, it was just repeated pressure across the map, most notably, obviously, onto MoX. I believe MoX had like 8 deaths near the end there.
Yeah, BigManTingz as well. Actually involved in all kills but 2. 0-125.
Wow.
0-125 on Athena support.
Let's take a look at First Blood, though. I believe he was a part of this, and this is just the perfect combo. This is just the beginning of the end for MoX.
And to be fair, if we could watch replays all day, we could to like explain what happened, because he didn't have purification there, MoX, so he couldn't escape it. It had already been gagged previously. But following through with Jifffy, I mean, the late game was where he shined for me in that last little engagement. But over and over again, pressure on, and this is where you see BigManTingz come in for one of his assists here. Swings around the corner, MoX not aware of it until it's too late. He's already used the backflip, so deletion happens once again. Jifffy getting credit for that one too.
And I think this is the one where he tried... Okay, now I remember he tried to read Bacchus. And honestly, Jifffy put a lot of pressure onto Murrdurr there in these fights, right? Obviously, he was looking for MoX on the ganks, but when it came to team fights, he really wanted to get that Bacchus out early.
Thor's really good against Bacchus.
Yes.
I mean, realistically, you can Berserker Barrage away so you don't get hit by the flop and knocked up, as well as when you go for the Belch of the Gods, you wall it so he stops the stun coming through as well. Thor's a really good pick. But we've got some plays for Realzx as well. Obviously, when you got that slash line and had over 25,000 damage, I want to say, in a game, you're going to pick up some kills and you're going to get some highlights.
He had, I think, the most damage in the game, only followed by Gamehunter, and I think he beat him by like 6,000. And it was just really good positioning from Realzx all game.
There was only one instance where I thought his position was a little bit overextended against Gamehunter, but he knew he had teammates coming in. He also had purification up just in case. And so sits in the back and just positions himself well. And this is what Realzx is known for. He's one of the best hunters in Europe for a reason and respected by North America because of it.
I think he's the best hunter in Europe. Honestly, this guy has been one of the reasons that Fnatic have, risen to be a top tier team in the world. Why they've gone to Worlds 2 years in a row, which very few teams can say.
So game 2, big talking point here. What did Torpedo do differently this time? Do you ban away the Thor? Or do you?
No, I don't.
Ban away Hou-Yi, Athena.
They're
the 3 for me that have the biggest.
But the thing is, I just don't like how Torpedo played their composition. Like, I think Fnatic played well and everything, but it wasn't like Fnatic have drafted, the best composition we've ever seen in the game. It was just Torpedo. They had this pickoff comp where we have our Neith for our, the World Weaver Global. Then we have the setup with the core for the Wombo, right? The take him to the sky and then Korinyo finds the dive. But they didn't do that ever. Like, they did it like once.
If that's the case, then do you ban Janus? Because Janus is a very difficult target to lock down.
Janus is maybe the one I would say you could ban away. But the problem is that, we didn't see them attempt to even gank the Janus outside of twice.
Well, that was the focus point, was mid lane over and over again. But Janus, like you said, difficult to gank. Let's find out.